Okay, issue. Now, in this particular writing lab, you're describing your topic, your purpose, and so you did that in a table here. When I look at your topic, it says connection between mindfulness and physical and
Yeah.
mental health, and that is the topic. But it may be a little bit better to be more specific because when I look at the rest of this, what I know is that your paper, your report really is about helping mental health counselors use mindfulness to improve their
Yeah.
physical and mental health. And if you put that as the topic, it narrows it a little bit so that you are, connection between mindfulness gives a lot of literature, a lot of information about the fact that is there a connection between mindfulness and physical and mental health? Well, that's going to be a small piece, but you're going to want, if you focus your topic area and how can we use this with mental health counselors, that will give you an idea of has anybody ever done that before? And is there literature about it? And it kind of focuses on making you look for information a little bit more specific. Now, it depends upon where you're going with the report. Because if the report is just about this, then you may decide later, I really don't need the thing about how would mental health counselors use it.
So incorporate maybe like the target audience in the
Right.
topic
Because
sentence.
that seems to be what you're talking about in this report. When I go on a little bit further, it seems like that's where you're moving.
Okay.
For example, so you're talking about to explore the impact of mindfulness on human health. Well, that could be in general, or it could be for counselors. And so the thing is, you want to kind of, there's a difference in terms of how you're going to present the report depending on what that is. But that's a good purpose. This second purpose I wanted to point out to you is to look for clinical evidence from reputable journals to find studies focused on the role of mindfulness on wellness. Um, Although that's what you're going to do, it isn't really the purpose of the paper is to look for evidence. Looking for evidence in reputable journals is the method you're using to accomplish your goal. And your goal is the purpose is to explore the impact. It may be even to report the impact rather than explore it. Explore would be a word that you would use if the literature is just talking about a topic, but they don't really have any conclusions yet. If the literature and research shows that there is a connection between mindfulness and human health, then you'd want to report it, not just explore it. And so this kind of tells you, now at this point, you may not know. So you may start with explore, and after you read the literature, do I want to stay with that word or do I want to have the purpose be to report the connection? And so you may need to actually do your literature review and find the literature in order to know what that's going to be, and you change that later
Okay.
on. Now, your analysis point one is mindfulness is associated with positive mood and higher tolerance for stress. That's a good point. It fits with what you're trying to do, and you do a good job of mentioning how these three pieces of literature fit with that. And so this is something that you're doing kind of as you're going along, and at the same time you're looking through your literature and you're really finding how does this literature fit with the different points that we have. How to practice mindfulness is so this source says that there's mindfulness techniques, just body scanning, sitting meditation, yoga. Those are really good too. So you're actually saying, okay, here's some of the things that we have to do, which suggests to me also that the report is going to go a little bit further than just talking about the connection. It's going to talk about how do we actually use that connection, how do we actually accomplish it, which means that you have to tell people what to do. Just to say to a person, mindfulness is good without telling them how to get there,
Yeah.
this is unhelpful. And so what you're saying is that the report has to have some value in terms of it's also going to tell you how to use mindfulness. And that's why this is an important point. So that's really good and that's well done. Now I noticed that you have a table here and it's well put together. Um, you've got psych info, although To be honest with you, PsycInfo doesn't have an H in it. It's PSYC
Oh,
and then N, but that's not a big deal. Uh, by putting the titles in the APA format, it really makes it a lot easier later on,
yeah,
because then you can just copy and paste things when you're trying to do up your reference list. Um, your keywords, the summary, and the notes are where you can really kind of determine how it's going to fit in with your report. So this is done really well. You've got a couple of things here. Um, you've got two different databases, and this from the American Psychological Association, which you probably found by looking online and
yeah,
doing an online search. And
yeah,
that's an important thing to be able to do too, is because sometimes you'll find things online from organizations and stuff that you don't find in the
yeah.
databases from the library. And so, and this from the APA sounds like a really good um, kind of resource for you to have. One thing that I will notice is if, when you're doing a table, if you do a space after it, it becomes a link.
Okay.
And therefore, it's a lot easier, because if you want to access that, if you click on it at the same time you're holding control, you'll go right to it and you don't have to
Okay.
copy and paste it. Here you'll notice that it won't work, because what you have to do here is you've got a line in between. So if you actually put them together, the difficulty is that it changes
Yeah.
your column. But if I do that here and then change that to a link, then I can actually change my column, but it'll still be a link. So if I click and control at the same time, I can do that. Now, obviously, this is, you have to play around with all of your columns and everything to do that. But that's a way to actually make it a little bit easier, because from your table, you can get to your URL right away. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Very good.